Hey everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Archives podcast. Today I don't have a guest, but we are going to be looking at some clips of an interview I did with a patient recently who had a very eerie story about a paranormal encounter they had. In fact, it sounded like the very same encounter I had many years ago. Usually my guests have typical ghost stories, things going bump in the night, strange noises being heard, doors opening up by themselves. But this one guest in particular was really unique. Alright, let's pull up the clips from last week's show. Hey there, viewers of the paranormal. Today we have a special guest who wanted to come on the show and tell us about a terrifying entity.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So what ghost story did you have in store for us today?
When I was younger, I used to see this entity. It was tall, didn't have any distinguishing features, and it appeared to be a shadow. I used to wake up in the middle of the night and see it in the corner of my room. It would just stand there, motionless. When I turned the light on, it just vanished. The first time I saw it, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I was deep in sleep and thought maybe I was seeing things. Until I kept seeing it multiple times a week at the same time every night. It got to the point where I would sleep with the light on to avoid having contact with it.
So, did this shadow person ever do anything else?
No, I would just stand there. I could never tell if it was looking at me. I couldn't
There
see any
has to be
eyes.
a reason it was there, though, right?
I don't know. Of course, I've read all the urban legends of shadow people, and all the stories were the same. They were seen for a very short period of time, and then they just up and vanished without a trace.
Are you sure it wasn't just a nightmare?
I was fully conscious every time it appeared. Is everything okay? You seem shaken up.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just the thing you saw is eerily parallel to my experience years ago. I'm honestly not even sure what it was. I haven't seen it since, so maybe it was just my imagination.
No, this this thing's real. It stood right in front of me. I even made drawings of it. You've seen it too, right?
I don't know what I saw. It was a long time ago. As the years pass on, I believe what I saw wasn't actually there. Why would it never show back up after that night? There's just no way it's real. What the hell was that? That was the first time I'd ever seen a camera do that on the show. We went back and checked the tripod for any loose fixtures, but everything seemed to be intact. There had to be something wrong with it, though. Camera equipment doesn't just malfunction by itself. Something had to have went wrong with it. And we went back and reviewed the footage of the interview, and during the interview, we never noticed the shadow come across the wall right here. That could have been anything, though. Someone could have walked by on accident, a bug crawling over the lens, over the light, you know, any logical explanation. It's because why would this thing that haunted me all those years ago come back now? It doesn't make any sense. A teenager's imagination can run wild even when there's a logical explanation for something. But I did decide to go back to the site of my first encounter just to disprove the existence of these things and let everybody know that this was my imagination all those years ago. So here's the clip of my investigation. So here we are near the site of my first encounter with these shadow people. I did some digging on the internet for the first time in a while and found out that these things are parasitic, meaning they attach themselves to the individuals that encounter them. I haven't seen any solid video evidence of these things existing. All I've seen are pictures and supposed stories. But anything you see nowadays is really skeptical. It all could be fake, could not be, who knows. So here we are at the site of my encounter. Well, the woods right next to it anyways. The house used to be in that direction over there on a dirt road, but I guess it was torn down a few years ago. I'm not sure, moved, whatever. But yeah, here we are, and we're gonna try to find out if these things actually exist or not. So first, what we're gonna do. What was that? We're gonna go check that out. I'm not sure what that was, but it sounded like it came from this general direction. So we're just going to keep. Was that a splash? What was that? Okay, we're gonna continue going this way. Well, here's a puddle of water with some stuff in it. This might have been what we heard. Maybe it wasn't. But we're gonna continue that way and see if we can run into whatever made this. Hopefully it was an animal. Here we are continuing down the trail, going deeper into the woods. It's wet. What is this? It's like a mound of some sort. Wait a minute, it looks like a hut. You know what? We're gonna call it a day, and we're going to come back out here with more people and investigate whatever that is. Here we are leaving the forest. Besides a few weird sounds that we heard today, we were pretty unsuccessful. Didn't really find anything, especially no shadow people, which pretty much proves my point that they don't exist. They're nothing more than a figment of your imagination, your mind running wild in the middle of the night, you know. We did find that hut, and I do want to bring a team out here and investigate that, see what it is, see what's inside of it. Probably nothing more than an animal, but as the days go by, my belief in these things just diminishes. They don't exist. It's not real. So stay tuned to the Paranormal Archives when we come back out here to further our investigation. As you just saw, I was the only person in those woods. Whatever was making those noises had to have been an animal or something. And whatever was in that hut, I don't know. I don't want to believe that these things exist. Why would they be around one time, vanish, and then come back all these years later? I don't understand at all. Let me just tell you my story of what happened. So I was 14 years old, and some of my friends had come to stay the night. It was summertime. We could be out late, so we decided to go out and skate in the street around 11 o'clock, midnight, around that time. Uh, a few minutes in to our little session, we look over at this house in the cul-de-sac, and we notice this person staring at us. We didn't really think much of it besides that, this guy's just a weirdo and wants to watch us skate, but, whatever. It was odd seeing someone out at that hour, though. So we continue skating, and several minutes pass by. We look back, and he's not there anymore. It's not there anymore, whatever it was. And, but before we could, like, oh, cool. We noticed something standing on the dirt road behind my house, which the light from that house would illuminate into the dirt road, and you could faintly see something there. So, being the curious teenagers we were, we walked over there, and one of my friends, who I'll call friend number one, started throwing rocks at the thing, and then it backed up into the darkness, so he ran in after it. And then me and my other friend number two, we kind of looked at each other, and then friend number one came running back and said, "Hey, there's nothing there at all." So we were genuinely frightened at that point. So we tried to book it to my house real quick. Mere seconds later, we looked down the road about 100 yards, and that same thing that was staring at us was in a yard, which was humanly impossible to get to in that amount of time. So after that, we decided just to screw everything, and we ran right inside my house. That entire summer was plagued by that night. I don't think I went out after dark for several years after that. But yeah. Last week's guest actually sent me an illustration of what they saw. And why does this look like the thing that I saw? How did someone else see the exact same thing that I saw all those years ago? This fucking thing is haunting me now. I just don't understand. Sorry about that, everybody. I had to go calm myself down. Just got a little worked up. I am currently gearing up for a second exploration of the woods. I want to go investigate that hut just to see what's inside of it. But yeah, stay tuned, and see you guys in the next Paranormal Archives. Oh, I forgot to turn the camera off.